Hey, I'm Booney Crawford of F.A.M.E. Ministries and Media Productions, and I'm super excited today that you're here to join us on this episode of F.A.M.E. Ministries. We're also in partnership with the Crawford Property Group and Catching Up with the Crawfords. Today, I have the opportunity to interview one of the most kindest and most humblest young men you'll ever want to meet, Carson Peters. You'll know Carson obviously from his fiddle playing days, and you've probably caught a concert with him and his band Iron Mountain. But today I hope that you'll get a glimpse of a different side of Carson as he shares his heart and his testimony. He'll be sharing a new song with us and maybe a couple of fiddle tunes. So stay right there. Thank you again for joining us. And listen, if no one's told you they love you today, I love you. So now here is Carson Peters. Well, Carson, thank you so much for taking time to be with me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
I know you're a busy young man, and it's always a joy to be able to sit down and talk with people about music and about faith and things like that. And we want you to share your heart so that people out there who are watching will be encouraged.
Absolutely.
But everybody knows you as a fiddle player. So talk to me a little bit about how you had taken up the fiddle and why bluegrass music.
Yeah, so I started the fiddle when I was 3.5. So I'd always grown up loving music ever since I was not old enough to even remember it. Mom and Dad would tell me, you know, they'd take me to church and I'd be clapping along to the choir, and I just always was infatuated with music. And so as soon as I could play anything, my grandma call her Nana. She got me a ukulele from Walmart, just a little red ukulele, and I was picking around on it at 2, and I had picked out I think it was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something, you know, that a 2-year-old would know, and played it for Mom and Dad, and they were like, man, we got to get this kid a serious instrument other than a Walmart ukulele. So we took a family vacation to Pennsylvania. We were traveling through the Amish country and seeing all that. And we went by like a flea market, Amish flea market, and they had a little fiddle sitting there. It was a 1/16 size, just tiny little thing. And Dad picked it up and kind of looked at it, and it's like, this would be a good first instrument for him. And put it back down, and you know, we just kept walking, and then something told him to stop again, and then he went right back and bought it and handed it to me, and started taking lessons shortly after that, and that's kind of how it started. How it started on the fiddle. You know, they had done some research, you know, just trying to figure out what was best for a 3-year-old, because I couldn't press the strings down on a guitar, and you know, they had narrowed it down between piano and violin, you know, and Dad had always loved bluegrass music and country music, so we went with the fiddle route, and I'm glad we did. And that's kind of what sparked my bluegrass love was you know, just growing up on the fiddle.
So is bluegrass your number one pick, or I know you do country shows as well, but is it kind of equal, or?
I grew up in bluegrass, and my roots will always be there. You know, I've definitely started doing some more country stuff. I moved to Nashville last year, and doing a lot of country stuff on the side, but I'll do bluegrass until I can't, you know. So, but I love bluegrass and love country. I love them both about the same, but the bluegrass has got that special place, you know.
Well, you're still a young guy, and you know what you've accomplished is just amazing, and just to watch your talent. But I know that you were like about 8 years old or something. You went to L.A. and you were on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. A few years later, you go to this other show with Steve Harvey. And then just here recently, you were on The Voice.
Yeah.
And Blake Shelton was your coach.
Yes, sir.
But what I want to talk to you about is, how does a young man from Piney Flats go to LA and meet these guys, be on these shows? How do you handle that? How did you prepare for that?
You know, it was honestly, I don't think anybody can prepare for LA. I had you know, the first 2 shows, the Tonight Show and then Little Big Shots, they were both on like a week worth of filming, you know, so it was a vacation, you know. It was cool to see a different part of the world. It's like, cool, wouldn't want to live here, do our thing, and go back, you know. Then The Voice happened, and that was a 3-month-long ordeal, you know, and it was honestly some of the best months of my life. Like, I enjoyed everything about it, but except the LA part, you know. It was just so far from home, and you could feel it. I'd never been in a place that felt more different than home, you know?
Yeah.
Not really, not throw the map out the window, you know, just the feeling of it was just so different. And I didn't personally enjoy it, but, you know, you're down there to do a thing, and that happened to be the location. But it's definitely a different vibe, and you got to get used to it. And the 3 months I was there, it kind of helped that, well, I say it helped, it was during COVID, so we couldn't really go anywhere. We were stuck in the hotel. So as far as the atmosphere of LA, I never really got fully used to it, because the only time I would see it is when we were driving in the vans to the studio. So that may be a good thing, I don't know. But
well, I got to tell you, we love LA.
Do you?
Yeah. We have my son Dylan, he went to Musicians Institute out in Hollywood, and got his degree in music out there. And so we had to travel back and forth. Then when he moved to Nashville to play music, my daughter moved out there. And then we ended up, my wife and my daughter both ended up getting their real estate license out there. So we'd spend about 50% there, 50% here.
Yeah.
But enough about that. But we loved LA.
Yeah, really, man. It may have been that I didn't get to see it for all it was worth, because it was right in the middle of COVID. But
I will say we were in northwest LA County, out in Calabasas.
Yeah.
You know where that's at. So our motto for real estate at the Crawford Property Group is we're selling homes from Dollywood to Hollywood. So
I like it.
That was what we did.
I like it.
But well, I got to tell you too that my musical hero is Ricky Skaggs. He inspired me, not just so much because of his musical style and his picking and all that, but because of his faith. He was very strong in his faith, and I was drawn to that. But he influenced my playing somewhat, because I went and got Joe Glazer in Nashville to put a B-bender in my guitar because of Skaggs.
Oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit. I know that at a young, early age, Ricky Skaggs asked you to come to the Grand Ole Opry. Talk a little bit about what you felt like to get this Hall of Famer, this, you know, Grammy award-winning musician to ask you to come and play with him.
Man, it was surreal to say the least. You know, I'd always grown up, and you know, Ricky is Dad's favorite musician. He listens to him all the time, so I was always listening to Ricky Skaggs when I was growing up, and developed a love for bluegrass, you know, in part from Ricky and that real country, you know, bluegrass type thing he had going on, where he was just playing bluegrass songs with a steel guitar. You know, it was great. But you know, he was a hero of mine. He still is, and I owe a lot of my career to him. Because we opened up for him in Knoxville, my little 4-piece bluegrass band. We opened up for him in Knoxville at the Bijou Theater in 2014, and got done with the show selling merchandise. We got done selling merchandise a long time before Ricky did, but I was waiting on Ricky to get done, and I wanted to go, you know, thank him, and because he had me up, and I believe we did an Orange Blossom special at Blue Moon in Kentucky that night, and I wanted to go thank him for having me on and let me open for him and stuff, and got over there and talked to him. He says, well, have you ever played the Opry? I was like, no, sir. He said, what are you doing next weekend? I mean, it's literally Saturday to Saturday. We went from, you know, opening for Ricky, and then he had me out on the Opry, and we did Blue Moon in Kentucky, you know, his musical hero, Bill Monroe song.
Were you even old enough to understand the magnitude of what was happening?
I don't think so. I knew it was a big deal, and I was nervous, but I'm glad I didn't fully understand as a 10-year-old how big that was, because I know I would have been a lot more nervous. And the times that we've played the Opry since, I just get more nervous every time, because I just realize more and more and more as I'm learning about country music and the history that's in that building. But yeah, I think it was honestly probably ignorance is bliss situation for a little 10-year-old getting out there. But yeah, I knew it was a big deal, but definitely not to the extent that I do now. You know?
Yeah. Well, I couldn't imagine, you know, being able to someone you look up to like that, to be able to play with them. But,
oh gosh, yeah.
But
every time I get to play with Ricky or see Ricky, it's a great experience, and he is truly probably one of the most godly men that I've met, and he walks the walk for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's change tunes here just a little bit and go in a different direction. My good friend Bobby Starns, you know, he's probably one of my best friends, and always has been since high school, and he had a lot of influence on me about my playing too. Yeah. He kind of encouraged me, he challenged me, so to speak, to be a better guitar player. but I know you do a lot of writing with Bobby, and he's been gracious enough to have us out at his place today in this beautiful setting to
I know it, man.
To shoot this video. And talk a little bit about your writing with Bobby.
Yeah, so Bobby is the reason that I am a songwriter. You know, I'd always loved music, like I've been telling you. I always loved music. I never even thought about the whole songwriting thing. And, you know, it seemed a little over my head for a long time. And I was like, you know, maybe I'm a musician, not a songwriter. And then we developed a relationship with Bobby. I feel like I honestly don't even know how I met Bobby, because I've known him for so long. You know, before I remember meeting people, I had known Bobby. And so we cut our very first record here in the studio downstairs, and we've cut multiple records here. And you know, always enjoy working with Bobby. And he finally taught me into writing one with him one day, and you know, and I was horrible, you know, obviously, and he stuck out and stuck through with me, and let me kind of develop my writing skills on his expense, you know, having to sit there and teach me the unwritten rules. You know, songwriting doesn't have any set in stone rules, but there's things you follow, and you know, he showed me all that stuff, and you know, really started my love for songwriting. And since I've moved to Nashville, it's about what I do every day now is write with people. And you know, it's just been opened up to a whole nother world of fellowship and communications, and you know, networking, and you know, it's done a lot of things for me. But yeah, songwriting, I owe that to Bobby for sure.
So as a songwriter, I know, like you say, you and Bobby write a lot of songs. He's taught you how to do a lot of that, and I know you do some songwriting in Nashville as well. But is there anything, I know I always put people on the spot by doing this, but do you have like something that you'd play for us now?
Yeah, man.
Or it can be original, it can be anything you want.
Well, we're on the topic of songwriting, we might as well. Stayed in tune, can you believe that? Yeah, I'll play one here that I wrote with a few buddies of mine. It was actually the first ride I had in Nashville was with a guy named Ethan Phillips, and Ethan's a little bit older than me and had been in Nashville for 4 or 5 years, and I met him at a bluegrass festival. He's a country songwriter, but met him at a bluegrass festival in Nashville, and told him I was moving into town, and he was gracious enough to take a chance on me, and we've wrote probably 20 or so times together now, and he's become a really good friend of mine, and introduced me to the other guys that we wrote this song with, Davis Luce and Justin Dukes. But we had Davis came in and had this idea for a song, and we jumped on it as soon as he pitched it. We usually spend about the first 15 minutes trying to figure out what you're gonna write, but he came in with it. We were like, "Yep, that's the one." So, but it's called Howdy. What she doing in here? I think I just fell in love. We only get one chance at a first impression, so I better not screw this up. Well, she's a 9 out of 10, and I'm the one she's missing, more woman than I deserve. After sitting and waiting, internally debating, I finally worked up the nerve. So I said, "Howdy, do you come here? Often mind if I sit down? How'd you slip through the back door of heaven? Does the good Lord know you got out? Honey, you're out of my league, but we make a good team far as I'm concerned. Howdy, how do I make the whole town wonder? How'd he wind up with her?" Well, I was feeling pretty slick when she said, "I admit I ain't heard that before." Next thing you know, we were both boot scooting all across the sawdust floor. Yeah, I landed me a kiss, and what you doing after this? I said, "I'm free for the rest of your life." Well, who would have thought it? The fire got started with a little bitty pickup line that sounded like, "Howdy, do you come here? Often mind if I sit down? How'd you slip through the back door of heaven? Does the good Lord know you got out? Honey, you're out of my league, but we make a good team far as I'm concerned. Howdy, how do I make the whole town wonder how he wind up with her? Howdy, do you come here often? Mind if I sit down? How'd you slip through the back door of heaven? Does the good Lord know you got out? Honey, you're out of my league, but we make a good team far as I'm concerned. Howdy, how do I make the whole town wonder how do you wind up with her? How do I make the whole town wonder what kind of spell I've got you under? How'd a boy like that even get her number? How'd he wind up with her?
Pretty cool, man.
Thanks,
Pretty cool. Before we go, I want to talk to you just a little bit. I know you just got engaged, right?
Yeah, man.
How's
Absolutely.
that going?
It's going great. I found one to keep me around, so I figured I would.
So she likes all this playing?
She loves it, man. She can sing really well, but you have to, pull her teeth out to make her sing. But she's got a love for music, and it's nice to, and she's honest too. That's the thing. After I get done with the show, she'll tell me what was good, and she'll tell me what was bad. And a musician needs that for sure. But no, she's great. Met her about a month before I moved to Nashville. So we've been doing long distance for over a year now, and it's nice to know that's coming to an end next June. But no, she's great.
Good. What we do here at F.A.M.E Ministries, our production company is F.A.M.E Media Productions, but it's all in association with F.A.M.E Ministries. And as I told you earlier, F.A.M.E has nothing to do with fame, but it's a fellowship of actors, musicians, and entertainers. And one thing I admire about you is, like, if you're not playing a bluegrass or country show, I always notice that you're playing a lot of churches.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your faith and why that's important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was raised Southern Baptist, and definitely would not be where I am without the good Lord, mentally, for sure. As a musician, it's always nice to have something to go back to, and there's a lot of tough decisions that get made in the music business, and it's always nice to have a rule book to go by to make those decisions, and to fall back on that and trust that. But yeah, man, I grew up Southern Baptist, like I said, and I'm thankful for parents that instilled that in me at a young age. And we always, wherever we're going on Saturday, playing music, we usually try to find a church to play Sunday morning, play the Sunday morning service or Sunday evening service as our way of, sharing our testimony. And we play gospel songs everywhere we go, at least one or two, just to, plant a seed wherever we can.
Right.
And it's something that's very important to me and very important to the band as well, the bluegrass band. And anybody I try to surround myself with, I like to know that they've got the same rule book I'm going by. So.
Right. Well, the Bible says our steps are ordered of the Lord. And it sounds like yours has been ordered since you were 3. That's been a while.
It has. It's and that's another thing. There's a lot of uncertainty, especially as I moved to Nashville last year, and I'm not where I want to be in music yet, and there's a lot of pathways to go from here, and it's nice to know that I'm just following a plan that I may not know the outcome, but I know I'm gonna be happy in the Lord no matter what. So.
Well, I'm a firm believer that God gifts all of us for a particular reason and to be a gift to the world. And if I could encourage you, Carson Peters, that you are who you are, but you are a gift to this world through your music. Don't ever forget it.
Yes, sir.
Don't ever let anybody take away from you your faith, but always know that if you're not playing that guitar or your fiddle or you're not using your voice to encourage people, that the world's missing out because they're not hearing from Carson Peters.
I appreciate it, man. Thank
Son,
you.
God bless you. Thank
God
you
bless
so
you.
much.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
Yes, sir. You too.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today here at F.A.M.E Ministries. I know that you were encouraged and you were entertained and you were blessed by Carson Peters. What a joyful young man he really is. But I also want to thank my good buddy Bobby Starns and my son Dylan Crawford for helping me out with this video today, and Bobby allowing us to invade his home, and Dylan is my executive producer. But I couldn't do what I do without them and with the help of a lot of other people. So I really appreciate all the help that the Lord has blessed me with. But I also want to encourage you at F.A.M.E Ministries, please subscribe, like, share this video, and let people know about F.A.M.E Ministries. We're over on YouTube as well. You can subscribe to that page over there. And I also want you to subscribe, if you would, or follow us on Instagram at F.A.M.E Ministries, and also at Booney Crawford, if you would. Thank you so much for all of you who do follow us, and for all of you who have encouraged us. And again, I couldn't do what I do without you and your help. So thank you again so much for being with us today. The Crawford Property Group, Catching Up with the Crawfords, we love you and we appreciate you. And stay tuned for the next video, because we got some more coming up. God bless. Take care. See you next time.